Yes, got it.
All right, change my view to see just Karen. All right, so now I will introduce Karen Garabrandt. So Karen G is an aspiring crone, shameless midlife hussy, stealth top. Famous for consensual hugs, tattooed academic library employee in Atlanta, writes poems, cackles like a witch from Salem. You want her in the room where it happens, whatever the it is. Here for the get through, she supports and validates you and your youness with a specialty for holding grief and pack animals. Here is the moment you've been waiting for. This is Karen Garbrandt. Everybody,
Yay! Thank
yeah,
you.
unmute and give a big round of applause or wave your hands. Woo!
I just want to point out that Emma is here from Britain, and I love her, and I know her from Java Monkey every Sunday night. Every Sunday night, y'all, we still do virtual in Atlanta. So just a little plug there. And yeah, let me get into some poems. So this is a piece that's kind of since we're in the queer month, I'm gonna do the queer poem. Yes, after Laverne Cox on 60 Minutes. This is how I love us. And in the loving of us, I somehow managed to include myself, peeling away from a favored version of ghost reflection, looking out a coffee shop window, watching as other people move through me as if I am invisible. I love how our lineage has seen some shit before. Plagues of lesions, plagues of breath, plagues of isolation, plagues of shunning as crisis foreshadowing. I remember measuring my boobs, hoping to grow beyond a 32, 36, and now I am this want of crone and shameless gushing, tender chested joy. I love us in the street, smears of rainbow flags as skirts, the revelry, the glitter and the gutter everywhere. It's like how I love to put on a red satin slip, wear it as a dress while stomping in heavy engineer boots and fuzzy eared hats, like the fashion era of Michelle T and Sister Spit, which was the same era I loved a nurse named Michelle, a nurse, a person who worked among machines, tubes cutting tools that I fear, that make us more guts than human. And here's the thing, I love how we are a slurry and sloppy, still intimate with each other, loud, brazen ejaculations of our joy and the soft ways we hold each other's hair while we vomit. Whether drunk or aging with sickness, no judgment. This is how I love us, how the early days of binge drinking, swallowing from a keg or a cock, then with age becomes the bestie voice over the telephone at 3 a.m, coaching us through our first colonoscopy. Chug, 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 you can do this, to the jug of the prep fluid. Keg stand or colonoscopy, we show the fuck up. This is how I love us, queers. We can meet anywhere and still see each other's tender, fuzzy parts with glory, puckered and smiling at the same time, air kissing or with tongue. Queers create sanctuaries, like swank hotel resorts far from here, out of any space, even as conservatives always attempt to distill us into wards, into hospitals, into institutions, and 60-minute conversations that are not loving or even a dialogue with any of us. Woo! And I saw that my friend Maggie got a Laverne Cox Barbie doll, and I'm so excited about that. Good for them. That's wonderful, and I love it. Okay. Now I was going to get into kind of a set of, since we're garage, I was garage poets. I was thinking of punk bands and music mashups with poems. So now here's this shit right here. You take the home from the boy, but not the boy from his home. These are my streets, the only life I've ever known. Who says you can't go home? I drop the car off for an oil change, and the boys in the garage are blasting this Bon Jovi tune. The guy next door still rotates light bulbs in the house I grew up in. And even though all these men might be working class Republicans who vote against themselves, there are some tasks where it can't matter. As much as grease matters, as much as spare parts, filters, and calloused hands. I was 8 years old and running with a dime in my hand to the bus stop to pick up a paper for my old man. I'd sit on his lap in that big old Buick and steer as we drove through town. He'd tousle my hair and say, "Son, take a good look around. This is your hometown." A smaller version of myself, sweat as my mom cursed the baby blue Volare without power steering, radio, or AC as it stalled out on the main street of my hometown. And this is what I first remember of classism, lurching toward the curb for a pullover with dignity. It was a pullover next to the sidewalk where tears were shed over the melting of spilt ice cream. On the way out this weekend, the bookend to my week is the bakery, which doesn't appear to sell ice cream anymore that melts on sidewalks, but we load up on sugar as the ladies behind the counter sing along to Bruce Springsteen. And I look into my family's eyes like, can you believe it? Bruce and John Bond, New Jersey boys who have escaped and out-traveled me with rock stardom, and how we find ourselves here, cleaning up, recognized, echoed. I feel kind of sad for not wanting to live here, but preferring the memories through the nostalgia of knowing a place the way it sings back to you when you're gone. The older woman at the bakery gives me a National Steak Park quarter for change, and one is from Michigan, another state like mine, shaped like a hand, like the hardworking blue collar of a hand, the mitt to the pointer. I think of my union organizing friend Amanda, who would get this poem, the way we are claimed by what we can't go back toward. In my other hand, a quarter from the park of an art colony, the relief of a painter in front of an easel, and I thank my mother, the way she shows up in my hand like this for me, the way coincidences are signs for me in a loose non-religion. When I rest my eyes on the New York Times spelling bee on the first day I come back to work from being in New Jersey, the pangram in spelling bee is hometown. Can't make that shit up. All right. Yeah. Okay. And then I wrote this one on Mother's Day, and there's this poem song lyrics for "No one knows me like the piano in my mother's home." And the lyric goes, "No one knows me like the piano in my mother's home. You would show me I had something some people call the soul. And you dropped out the sky. Oh, you arrived when I was 3 years old. No one knows me like the piano in my mother's home. You know, I left, I flew the nest, and you know I won't be long. And in my chest, you know me best, and you know I'll be back home. Don't call me motherless. A lineage vine down from quilts, aquavit, meatballs, bird watching, booze, cold winters, corn, and prohibition bathtub vodka. Dark berries in the summer, roasted meat in the winter, cigarettes in holders, swings of flapper skirts, wives of men in wars who didn't come home. To call me motherless would be an insult to big bones, wide hips, and suffragettes. The right to vote and make our own choices. I'll say that again, the right to vote and make our own choices, especially right now. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, but usually when I'm told to buy a candy card and flower holiday emails and sales of don't forget Valentine's Day, while some of us out here never do and never did. I can't part with my mother's piano, Her long, almost concert pianist's fingers, an echo that knows me as easily as the jasmine finds my nose in May. I don't know where to put it. The remnant of grandfather composer, the legend looming in shadows more than the reality of knowing him, how I'd never live up, even in a different art form. The vines, the way they tendril invasive, and that's not meant as an insult, but sometimes the sweetness of the honeysuckle chokes a little, puts an allergy cough there. A wives' tale knows how to soothe. I have trouble knowing where to put myself on days like this without a plan, a free-range chick. Today, I find myself for 20 minutes in IKEA to honor my matriarchy of Sweden with a fast food version of meatball. I season it with Sampha's song about the piano, how it arrived in my house at 4 years old, how art brushes piano pens, instruments to save our souls when we were lost even to our mothers. Mama, grandma, grandma, memories seize us in rapture and in passing out. When our eyes roll back like our tongues into our heads with memories, we witch cackle. We will always be our mother's children, even when our mothers escape us. All right. And then this is the last of the sort of music mashup poems. Some of you have heard this from Saturday night. Actually, many of these pieces I kind of maybe wrote with Saturday night. But anyway, for Dolores of the Cranberries. You didn't move on, and you did at the same time. Didn't slip in the bathtub. That was someone I actually knew personally. And another song. These were people who died. Singers like repetition, lyrics over and over again, trite endings remain true. From the Cranberries, it's just your attitude. It's tearing me apart. It's ruining every day. When your voice was more breathy whisper, softer, less diatribe. I can't take this anymore. I've decided to leave, walked through the door. The CD with these songs insidiously a gift from one of my roughest partners. The one who pushed me over ice, the one too drunk to fuck, the one with a DUI who cracked open beer at 9 a.m. behind the wheel of a Suzuki Samurai. And you always prove me wrong, because you're always putting me down, cutting the softness of it, the femme of it. The songs at that time felt like past cigarettes from one girl to another. You're so pretty the way you are, and you have no reason to be so insolent to me. You're so pretty the way you are. I loved that CD until I couldn't hear it anymore without thinking of rattled empty bottles, the cold clink of ice slipping under my arm, behind my back. I'm so sorry liquor saturated their life and yours. The words we used for it, hammered, pickled, 3 sheets to the wind, underwater, sailor in a bathtub toward uncharted territory. What's in your head? What's in your head? What's in your head? Now empty, gone, lingering. The way even now the songs get stuck in my head without you alive. A repetition. The way the songs live on after the person, like a zombie, a zombie, a zombie. All right. Couple more. How am I on time?
You have
You're
4
doing
more
good,
hours.
Karen.
4 more hours. Oh, Rich, I love you. Thank you for that.
4 hours, 10 minutes, somewhere in there.
Okay, so I have a couple more. I'm gonna end on an upswing, but anyway, okay. This is another. Listening to the sound of carpet being ripped up from a slab's floor, I'm in the other room, the room outside, the sun porch. I hear two voices inside. My nose is filled with something like dirt, a kidhood odor of cactus and concrete. I hear the sound of the ripping. The two people here with me so close and laughing. The sound of the ripping is visceral. This is the carpet my father stood on to receive the news of my mother's passing. This is the carpet of mold. This is the carpet of decay. This is the carpet of rot. This is the carpet my dad fell and died on, and I can't go in that room. I don't have to ever go in that room again. I hear the ripping and I think of what's been torn away from my life in this timeless time of years lost and losing their meaning, and the linear of it, and the where are we, what time of it is it, how one year bleeds into another, how much energy I used to spend in full rooms inside with friends breathing and spitting with all my teeth showing. How even as masks come off, I long for just eyes over edges, relying on reading them. As I hear the ripping, I don't know what is left of the me from before this. Is there a me from before this? An echo, a memory, the stripping away to the bones of who and what and where to set intentions, new grounding. I have felt people slipping away from virtual squares into real life boxes. The ripping of the carpet is just more of the ground underneath me shifting and changing. While I notice that I still have feet, while I notice that I can stand on my own, while I notice I can ask a friend for help, I ask to stand with a friend and lean an ugly cry into available shoulders. Or I can just sit here and breathe and take a break and let my cheeks soak up the water from my eyes. Phew. Yes. Let's see. All right. Let's see. This is from a prompt from after reading Daphne Gottlieb's poem, Slut. Patron saint of finding, I'm the person who knows where you put your keys, left your wallet, misplaced your pill bottles. I know where the tethers are. Another way of saying this is that I hold space for grief, yours, mine, collective, unconscious. They call the candles I burn 7-day, but no, I always have more than a week's supply in multiple colors. I candle magic wishes, even if the wax slow burns from inside glass. I am often behind glass, flickering behind a window or a windshield. I hold space with only children, however they are only. I'm here for the churchless, the faithless, the ones hope forgot, but I'm unlearning the whiteness of savior complexes. My hope and faith is a mosaic, more like X or sex or memories like X's, more sex goddess than anything else I wish for. I wish more than anything I knew how to teach unshaming. Maybe I know where the objects are because it's so freeing to shed them, leave them outside the world by the door, tossed off shoe, heavy bag, bra in the driver's seat, tie, coat. To be friends is to hold the small deaths of the everyday, like the birds from fallen nests or verdicts read over NPR. I'm the patron saint of not mother, witness in this house with fear of cops, of driver's licenses that mean less freedom, more risk. I remember when my friend was afraid of losing her kids if she came out of the closet, and now we are all afraid of guns in the hands of authority. Another way of saying my arms are not just part of this body, but the space I share with other bodies and the way voices speak on the other sides of walls. The last time someone said they loved me and I believed, the fact of it rode the air between my dad's last breath and the words that spoke it, a way of saying I'm a patron saint of staying right here. Okay. This is a favorite piece. I'll end on this. This is one of the favorite things that I've written in the last couple of years. I love you too. Okay. This is like how many times I've died. All right. I died once in a Chicago hotel room, ugly crying in a ceramic bathtub. I died once on a bus watching my first true love bicycle back into the world, as if the decision to give them back to it were ever mine. I died once when two women I love broke a lifelong friendship over bathroom bills and tyranny of born sex. I died once to a girlfriend's verbal abuse turned shove, the backslide over an icy sidewalk. I died once feeling my whole hand drawn in. I died once in a U-Haul that did not crash. I died once in a dorm room to the voices of men. I died another time when a platonic life mate asked me why I loved another, and while looking at the knots of a cottonwood tree, I struggled for words. I died once leaving him to empty bottles. I die every time another partner opens one, the fizzy sound of cracked beer, an unnamed ocean of nausea. I have died many times for touch, for communities, for politics, for lips and tongues and words and breath. I've died once to save myself. One day I will write the poem that names the poisons and the fatalities of using those tools. I've died once many little times. I defy death with the number of times I have already been killed. The nape of my neck is a lock, a firm tongue, the skeleton key of my undoing. I'm slipped so easily. You can have me with a phrase, turned when I need to hear it, but didn't know I did. All my clothes are easy to remove. I can't dress up in uniform for a job like I can for a bedroom, no matter how much coffee I could drink for free. Even with all my ease and my slippery and slick, I become cross with the boundary trips. When I need to be left alone, I need to be alone. And I have died alone to be this alone. I was alone under a biopsy machine. I have friends who are losing their breasts and it's in my DNA. I expect one day I will be bi and dissected. And my sensitive orgasmic nerves twitch. I don't want to bury that part of myself or watch it wash down a drain from medieval treatments. Would I die that death? Frida with her brow scowls at me in admonishment. You do what you have to do to survive. She died more than once for women too. Her sorrow and primary red treasure chest unlocked, unspooled. I love watching and rewinding smoldering scenes from my life, the crackle of wood burning, the weight of the log falling, alligator skin as it snaps from persistent blue flames. I love the ritual of tearing up pieces and feeding it the scraps of the words that lie to us, like shame and indignity, like low self-esteem or self-worth, like depression, like my own manuscript, prioritizing other people's voices for so long over my own. No alchemy can ever swallow the little flame of intuition I carry. And as many times as I have died, I am still alive. As much as I want to look away to the end see coming, I always see them coming. Thank you, my lovely human friends, my poet friends. I love you so much.
Woo! Thank you, Karen. That was fantastic.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for asking me to do this. And I love your voice. Your voice reminds me of Jim Carroll, who got me started on this whole thing. So.
Oh, wow. That's a huge compliment. Thank you. I opened up for Jim Carroll. I did. That's like the highlight of my career.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
somehow knew this.
Damn.
he played in Worcester, and
Yes.
somehow Alex Lambides was
Oh,
putting together
yes.
some poets to open up for him, and
Awesome.
yeah.
Karen, your set was brilliant, and it was everything I was hoping for. I'm so excited to have heard a full length feature performance of yours, and it's if there is like a good version of the word aghast, I'm that. Whatever the good other side of that is.
Thank
So
you.
you're welcome. Gobsmacked, yeah, Valerie, there you go.
Gobs-
I am gobsmacked, and yeah.
Just don't be godsmacked.
It would be necessary for me to believe in God in the first place.
That was a musical, wasn't it?
It was. I don't know.
Back in the
Wait,
70s?
What's that
It was
guy's
not a
name from
band. I was
Godsmack?
definitely not referencing a terrible band.
Right. God. Oh yeah. Prepare ye the way. That's right. Godsmack. I haven't heard that a reference to that band in, I don't know, 200 years.
That's probably where it should have been left.
Yeah.
My mind